When did you notice something about someone after years of knowing them? My dad always left the last piece of food for me. Took me 23 years to realize he wasn't just not hungry. When I realized my quirky friend was actually a master manipulator. Took years to see the pattern. After years of knowing someone I thought a friend, I realized that they only keep me about to be the butt of the joke. I plucked up the courage to chime in with a joke about them for a change. Only for it to be reacted to like I'd committed a crime. Cue me being cursed out and told to mind my place. A good friend of a few years wasn't just wily and difficult to make plans with, they had a legitimate drug problem and hid from everyone because they were ashamed of it. Far as I know, they're doing better these days. The day I realized that my so-called friend actually only had time for me when they wanted something. I found out my dad has been left-handed his whole life, but he writes with his right hand because of school rules when he was a kid. Took me 20 years to catch that he does everything else with his left hand. One of my best friends eats the paper you take off a straw. The first time I saw it, I was like, WTF? He gave me a strange look and said he'd done it every time for the past 10 years we'd known each other. I suppose I'm not very observant. One of my closest pals used to compete in figure skating, I discovered. She never brought up the fact that we had been friends for years. She casually remarked that she used to compete at a national level during a conversation discussing childhood pastimes. I was taken aback. It was amazing to witness a whole different side of her, and she even showed me some old pictures and videos. I noticed about 6 years together, 3 of them married, that my husband has a very slight lisp. He was very shocked that I had just now noticed it. To be fair to myself, though, I have a hard time hearing. My 4 years old. Mom. Did you know Aunt Diane and Uncle Don are black? Yes, they were, and he had just noticed. About myself, I didn't realize until I was almost 20 that I play pool left-handed. I'm right-handed, and I noticed my cousin used the opposite hands I did while we were playing. I said, Andy, I didn't know you played pool left-handed. He said, I don't, you do. Turns out I learned to play pool by mimicking my dad, who is, surprise surprise, left-handed and just never put 2 and 2 together. After 8 years of friendship with my best friend, I found out that it really annoys her when people slurp. All these years, she put up with my slurping and never said anything because she loves me and didn't want to hurt my feelings. I was sitting with my uncle, a man who's spent his entire life yelling at the TV about politicians, when I realized he's never once voted. Years of shouting at the screen, and this man doesn't even fill out the ballot. That's like booing a game you didn't buy tickets to. I had a longtime friend who I thought was just sensitive, but she is actually a perpetual victim and emotionally unstable, abusive to people who don't play into her victimhood. I've known my dad since I was born and realized last year that he doesn't wear a wedding ring. Before you say anything, he's not messing around on my mom. He's always at home or work. The reason is just that he has gigantic hands and thinks the ring would be inconvenient in his work as a welder.